Hello. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for giving me some of your time. I appreciate it. Today, I want to cover very quickly an enormous report recently published by NAR. When I say recently, yesterday. The title of the report is 2025 Home Buyer and Sellers Generational Trends Report. I'm going to highlight a couple things in this report. I highly recommend you download this. It's a PDF. I'll put a link to in my notes below, but it's 131 pages, of which has about 100 pages of really good data, really actionable charts, things you can use in your presentations, your lunch and learns, if you're doing listing presentations, your home buyer seminars, your maybe on your recruiting appointments, prospecting appointments. I'll share a handful of them, the ones I thought that were most important, some that I found kind of humorous. Hopefully you'll like it too. But first, let's just kind of highlight some of the things that leapt out, and then I'll show you some of the graphs, some of the charts. So, interesting phenomenon, baby boomers have moved back to the top of the heap again. Baby boomers made up 42% of home buyers. And millennials, which previously held the 1% spot, dropped down to 29%. So millennials are now 29% of all overall total home buyers, and baby boomers are 42%. There's some other interesting phenomenon. Multi-generational home buying is on the rise. Gen X is leading the trend with 21% of Generation X doing a multi-generational purchase. Cash purchases, kind of interesting, over half of all boomers are using cash. And by the way, so the report breaks up old boomers and young boomers. I'll show you. It's almost like 59% of old boomers are using cash, and 40% of young boomers are using cash. And mostly some of it's just cash on hand. A lot of it's from sale of a previous primary residence. First-time home buyers, younger millennials, that's people aged 26 to 34, make up the largest share of first-time home buyers, 71%. So 71% of first-time home buyers are younger millennials, 26 to 34. As I mentioned, baby boomers are driving the sizable portion of the market because they're paying cash and not having to deal with mortgage, interest rates, affordability, that kind of thing. Gen Z is a very small portion of the purchase market, only 3%, but it's growing. And of the Gen Z, 30% of all Gen Z buyers are single females. So there you go. That's the key highlights. Like I said, we'll put a link to the report below, but let's look at the report. I think you're going to find this kind of interesting. Here it is, a snappy little report. I'm going to cruise through just a bunch of slides really quick. Here's the first one that leapt out. This is kind of what, if you don't know, if you're like me and I have no idea what generation is what, I love this little chart right here. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that on my wall. So when somebody tells me about a millennial or a Gen Z, I can actually look to see what is that. So this was super helpful. Next thing I want to show you is going to be in chart 13. 13 is great. Look at this, age of home buyers. And here you can see boomers 60 to 69 are 26% of home buyers, and boomers 70 to 78 are 16%. So the younger and older boomers come to 42%. And in truth, just people over 60 is 46% of the home buyer market. Isn't that remarkable? I think that's great. All right, now let's go to the next slide. This is the multi-generational. What was the percentage of multi-generational buyers and why? You can see in that 79 and 99, 21% of buyers had a multi-generational household. The reasons is cost savings, healthcare, children under 18 moving back in, children under 18 never left home, or children that owned a home invited their aging parents in. Some of them just did multiple generations to be able to afford the home. Interesting, not shocking, but interesting. Let's keep moving. Next interesting slide. Now, I love this slide. This is so fun, right? It amazes me that 5% of the buyers that are over 80 were buying their first home. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? So it's 2025. If you're 80, you were born in 1945. You're born in World War II, right at the end of World War II, just after it, 1945. And this year is the first year you buy your first house. How great is that? That is just great. And in fact, right, 18% of first-time home buyers, or 18% of home buyers that are over 60 are first-time home buyers. One in five buyers who's 60 or older is buying their first house. Who would have thought that? Now, isn't there a key learning in there? Don't you think maybe we should start targeting our first-time home buyer, outreach to the seniors out there? I think that's just so awesome. Keep hope alive. That's what I say. All right, let's keep going. This is fun. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Let's go to why new and previously owned homes purchase. All this has to speak to the number one reason why people buy another home is because they want to avoid serious renovations, mostly with plumbing or electricity. And that's true with all ages. But that's the number one. Now, you can see the other reasons. You can check this out. But I found that kind of interesting. Let's keep moving. Let's go up. We're going to slide 46. Now, this is probably one of my favorite slides. And check this out. You got to check this out. You got to enjoy it, right? So, from home buyers aged 79 to 99, home buyers, 79 to 99, right? 22% of them think they're going to live in their house for at least 16 years. So you're 100. I love this, man. You're 99 years old and you think you're going to live in your house for at least 22% of them think they're going to live in the house for at least 16 more years. How great is that, right? 20% think they're going to live in the house from 11 to 15 years. 36% think they're going to live in the house at least 8 years longer. That is just really awesome. Now, none of the 79 to 99 thought they're going to live there for just 6 years. You're either going to live there a long time, you're either going to make it over the hump, or you're not going to quite make it. But I love that. And it's the same numbers, even bigger numbers for people over 70. I love that. How about people over 60? People 60 or over, 57% think they're going to live there at least 16 years. And it's true, we're living longer, right? We're all going to live longer. I hope we all live well over 100, that we're we have a lot of vitality. But that is a great number. What a fun social media post that would be to make to share that number. All right, let's go. First step taken during the home buying process. I'm only showing this is that seniors are very internet savvy, and you can even see from seniors that are 70 or older or 79 or older. They're starting their search online. 43% of 70-year-olds start to search online. 37% of 80-year-olds start to search online. I don't know. I think that's also incredible. Let's go to the next one. We can just go right down. Watch this. Hold on here. Let me do boop, boop, boop. All right. Now, here's another thing. So this is where people got their sources of information. 99% of seniors, about 90% seniors got real estate agents was their number one source of information. However, over half of seniors use their cell phone or a tablet to help them in their search. Isn't that crazy? And 42% of seniors over 80 and 45% of seniors over 70 watch online videos, right? They're very internet savvy. Do not underestimate how savvy seniors are with the internet. All right, so let's keep going. We're only going to look at a couple more slides, even though this is a lot of fun. This speaks to how people found their house, right? 37% of seniors over 70 found their house on the internet. And 80% of seniors over 80, 28% of seniors over 80 found it on the internet. That's what I'm saying. Our seniors are very internet savvy. They've learned how to get on Facebook so they can hang out with their friends and watch their grandkids and their kids. Same thing with Instagram. They're savvy, man. Do not downplay that. Okay, so 2 more slides. Hopefully they're fun ones. Buyers who finance their home purchase, you can see only 51% of seniors over 70 use financing, and only 59% of seniors over 80 use financing. That's something we would kind of expect. Let's wrap this up. Last slide. This has been really fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you check this out. Sources of down payment, I mentioned this to you before. 35% of seniors over 80 use cash on hand, but the majority of seniors, 62 and 57%, got it from the sale of a primary residence. So there you go. That is the home buyer report. I thought it was awesome. I think it was kind of fun, and it's also a lot of hope, man. I'm so glad that seniors, some are making their first time home buy purchase in their, in their 70s and 80s. I think that's really cool. I mentioned I did a post on LinkedIn talking about this. I put links to both the press release, an article, and then you can click through to get the PDF. But definitely check out the PDF. As I showed you, there's 131 great charts, slides, stuff like that. With that, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time. I hope you're having a great week, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.